Good morning, Heathlands, and welcome to week 27 of Heathlands at Home Extended Podcast. This week so far we've had
Workout with Maria on Monday in place of Nick's workout.
Art Live with Helen T, making bugs and insects out of egg boxes.
On Tuesday we had
Desert to Heal with Wendy at 10:30.
Followed by Signing with Nick at 11.
Heathlands Quiz of the Week at 1 p.m. And we won again.
Woo! Well done to us.
Coming up today from Heathlands at Home.
On Facebook at 11 after us is Workout with Maria live.
We had a technical issues last week. We think they are all sorted now, so fingers crossed we'll all run smoothly.
Live lunch from 12 until 1:45.
Cooking social with Jackie and the team.
Today they are making naan bread pizzas.
Ooh, if you think that sounds good, join the team live at 1 p.m.
Coming up right now we have
a guest presenter with an activity to show you.
Today we have one of the Helens again, but which one will it be this time?
In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a ribbon wrapped jar that you can use as a vase. So what we'll need is a jar, and I've washed this out so it's nice and clean and I've peeled the label off, some double-sided tape and a selection of ribbons and laces and your pair of scissors. Now you can use any kind of ribbon or bits of lace, whatever you've got lying around, and you don't need very long pieces. They just need to be long enough to stretch around the jar. And it's nice if you can have colours that work well together, or you could just go for all the colours, whatever you like. If you haven't got any double-sided tape, you can do this with glue, but it's definitely easier with tape. So if you've got some double-sided, I would use that. So let's get making. Our first job is to put a couple of lines of double-sided tape onto the jar. And we're going to put one along here and one along the opposite side. So we'll find the end of the tape. There we go. And we'll stick it down. And I'm not going right from the very top of the jar. I'm going to just under the rim, so just under sort of the raised edges where the jar fits in. And I'm just running it right down to the bottom. I'm going to cut that off there. I'm just going to leave the paper on for now. So now on the opposite side of the jar, I'm going to do the same thing. So again, I'm just starting underneath the ridges that hold the lid on normally, running a line of double-sided tape down to the edge, bottom edge of the jar, and we'll just snip that off there. Now, double-sided tape, as you can see, has this protective layer of paper on it. So it's stuck nicely to the jar, but obviously I can't stick anything on top at the moment, so I need to peel off the paper layer. Now, this is a little bit fiddly, so just take your time with this bit. There we go, almost. There we go. So what you can see now is I've got a layer of tape, which is very sticky, on the jar. And I'm just peeling that backing off. And do the same for the other piece of tape. It's generally easier if you start in a corner so that you can separate out the layers. There we go. So peeling off the paper. So I've got my two strips double-sided on either side of the jar, and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap strips of ribbon and lace around the jar so that it looks nicely decorated. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of lace, I think, and I'm going to have it so that the loopy edges are at the top. And what I'm going to do on one of the pieces of tape, about halfway across the tape, I'm going to just stick the lace on. I'm not going right the way across the tape. Can you see I've got a little bit of free tape there? because what I want to do is carefully wrap this around the jar. And remember, we've got the bit of tape on the opposite side. That's going to hold it halfway round until I come back to where I started. And then that bit of tape that we left free at the beginning, I can stick on there. And once you've done that, you can trim your ribbon or your lace to size. And that's our first piece on. You see, it gets a bit sticky with all this double-sided. I'm just going to move that down slightly. And what we're going to do now is just carry on in the same way, adding bits of ribbon and lace until the jar is covered. So I'm going to go for this sparkly bit next. So halfway across the double-sided tape, and I'm overlapping my lace slightly because on my finished jar, I don't want to see the glass in between. I want it to be completely covered with ribbon. So it's got stuck onto my opposite piece of double-sided, and because we only went halfway across there, I can stick that on there. Give it a trim. Try not to stick to the desk. There we go. So have a look, what should we have next? I think we'll have a little bit of velvet ribbon next. So again, halfway across the double-sided, slightly overlapping the ribbon from before. Hold it nice and tightly as you wrap it round. There we go, and meet up where we started. Trim that end off. There we go, so you can see starting to build up our design. So next up, I think we'll have a bit of this quite decorative ribbon. So same as before, halfway across the double-sided, holding it nice and tightly as I wrap it around so that it meets up with where I started. Trim that off. Don't worry too much about this bit because we're going to cover that at the end, so if you think it's looking a bit messy, don't worry too much. Have a bit of pink polka dots next, I think. So same as before, halfway across the double-sided. Keep it nice and tight as you're wrapping it round the jar. Meet up with the other bit of double-sided. If you've got very narrow double-sided tape, what you could do is put two strips next to each other, so you've got a wider sticky area. That will work just as well. I think we'll maybe have another piece of lace. You maybe won't have the lace there because that bit of paper is going to show through. So, well, there we go. We'll have this bit with the shiny mirrors in. So halfway across the double-sided, wrapping it around so it meets up. Trim that off. Okay, now we'll go for that bit of lace. Halfway across the double-sided tape, hold it tight as I wrap it round. Meet up with where I started. So I've just got enough room for one more piece. Just flatten that bit down. There we go. So what will we finish off with? We'll finish off with this nice velvet purple ribbon. So halfway across that double-sided tape, and this one's a little bit more awkward because the bottom of the jar is rounded, so it doesn't want to sit flat exactly, but that's all right. It's going to look fine when it's finished. There we go, snip that off there. It's a very thick bit of ribbon, it doesn't want to go. So if we move those pieces out of the way, we've got all our ribbons and trims decorating our jar, all securely stuck down with tape, but we do have this seam at the back. Now, I've lined mine up so it's not too bad, but if you find that yours is a little bit of a mess, then what you can do is make a feature of it by putting another piece of double-sided tape over the top. There we go, stick that down. And again, like we did before, peel the paper backing off if you can. This is the most awkward part of this craft. There we go. So I've got my bit of double-sided there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another piece of ribbon. I'm just going to trim that. At the moment I've got an angled end, but I want a flat end for this bit. And I'm just going to lay that over the double-sided tape, and that covers up those joins. Again, we'll trim that. And then to make it extra pretty, I'm going to add a little bow. So from, again, this bit of ribbon, I'm going to tie a bow, just like you would if you were tying a bow in your shoelaces. Or you can buy little ribbon bows, or you might have one from a gift bag or a label that you could use. There we go. So tie a little bow, and again we're going to use double-sided to stick that in place. So we'll cut ourselves a small piece of double-sided tape and stick that on the top there. Carefully peel the paper off. Right, got the whole thing there, not just the paper. Let's try again. There we go. So I've got my bit of sticky tape there. Use that to stick the bow on, so press it down nice and firmly. And there we have one ribbon covered vase ready to fill with water and flowers and either give to someone or use to decorate your home. Have fun, don't forget to show us how you get on, and happy making!
As you've seen this week, we had Helen Walsh making a ribbon jar vase.
We had Helen Walsh for a second week, as tomorrow, sadly, is her last day.
Yeah, it's very sad to see Helen go, but hopefully she'll stay on our relief list and be back to see us real soon.
Who do we have next time, then? I wonder.
Still to come this week, we've had
Nick's Football Fanatics live social group on Thursday at 1:30.
Nick is away, so Jackie and Jamie will be stepping in again to run the show.
Also, in a few weeks, Football Fanatics will be changing to cover more sports than just football.
Still to come this week.
On Thursday, we have Dancing to Heal with Wendy seated.
Heathlands Book Club with Jeanette and Susan is on Thursday as well.
On Friday, Tai Chi with Annette this week doing a summer Qui-Gon routine with a very special mystery guest.
Which brings us to the main event of our Heathlands at Home broadcast.
The most popular part of the Heathlands at Home broadcast.
We have another brilliant book to read to you.
Now, today's book is, just to let you know, this is not about, it's not about poop. Super Tato. Some vegetables are frozen for a very good reason. Don't believe me? Then keep reading. It was night time in the supermarket and all was quiet. But, crash, bang, something had escaped from the freezer. Something small and round and green. Something looking for trouble. Big trouble. Help, help, cried the carrot. I'm stuck to the conveyor belt. Ah, cried broccoli. Someone's drawn on my face. Said cried cucumber. Who was doing this? And was there anyone who could help these vegetables in distress? Super Tato to the rescue! He used his super speed. he used his super strength. He used a flannel and some soapy water. I know who's behind this, said Super Tato. There's a pea on the loose. Oh no, not a pea, everyone gasped. Yes, a pea, but I'm out of the freezer now and I'm never going back. And the evil pea ran off to commit more terrible crimes. Time for a dip, little veggies. That's enough, shouted Super Tato. He leapt towards the pea, but the pea popped out of his hands and vanished into thin air. Super Tato set out on a super search. He crept through the cakes, checked the cheese, and snuck up on the beans. Then something caught his eye. The game's up, yelled Super Tato. Kapow! But the pea bounced out of reach and onto a trolley. Super Tato was just about to stop him with his super strength when the trolley crashed and he was thrown down into the icy depths of a freezer. Was this the end of Super Tato? Not quite, but the pea was off his trolley and lying in wait. You're finished, Super Tato, he shrieked. He's gonna mash her. But Super Tato summoned up all his strength, and he ran for it. The pea nearly had him at the beans, and closed in on him at the cheese. He had him cornered at the kegs. So much for Super Tato, screeched the pea. You're about to be mashed potato. Surely this was the end of Super Tato? Not today, my friend, said Super Tato. Gotcha! Said the pea. He's in jelly. Oh yes, said Super Tato. I set my trap and you fell for it. Or should that be in it? And he grinned a super grin. Super Tato had saved the day. Take him away, he said. And the pea was marched back to the freezer where he belonged. This jelly tastes of pea, said Broccoli. And everyone laughed and cheered. So folks, remember, some vegetables are frozen for a very good reason. Maybe you'd better go and check your freezer, just in case there's an escapee in a house. Because you never know.
Yep, I'm definitely lost for words there, Mark.
We're back again the same time next week with another awesome book to read you.
Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, stay happy, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!
Bye.